Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Ramon Foster Show. He, over there, is Ramon Foster. See him over there?
That is
11 years starting guard in the National Football League. All 11 of those, where'd that come from? All 11 of those for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But as of this week, we at this program are in a position to congratulate Mr. Foster over there on his new position as color commentator for his beloved, let it be known, beloved University of Tennessee Volunteers. Moan, congrats. I know how much this means to you. I know more than anything how much you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, man. As I put on my orange tinted glasses right now, man.
Oh,
yeah. Dolly got the sound effects in the back. DK, this was. No, man. But seriously, DK is going to get real squirmy right here when I say all of this. But it's also, you're a contributing factor to this too, DK. Getting in this world, man, this media world. You remember how it was in the locker room for a guy like me. Moan in the media. Oh my, come to cameras. They're coming to Moan's locker room.
I always did.
Yeah, I mean, my locker space, man, was cool. I saw somebody ask that, so what was the big news I was teasing? DK just told you I'm the color analyst for my for the radio side of my university, covering football, man. So I'll not be doing the Titans thing on Sundays anymore, which honestly, DK, as far as it stands right now, gives my family and me more flexibility. Like, the grind that you do and like others do also, where you got to go cover the games, go to the destination because you are an on-site guy. And when you do it that way, you travel and you're at the mercy of travel. And then I also got the 6 o'clock job that I get up at, 5 o'clock, sometimes 4:20 in the morning, sometimes to go to. And that can be taxing. So now, DK, I can do more live tweeting during Steelers games. We can have an engagement going back and forth to where I can have my Sundays back, man. And I'm not complaining about the job that I did with the Titans, but it got to a point, and I'm going to say this, and I'm very sympathetic to a lot of people, but like that was a 7-day job.
A lot of people don't realize that. They think when you have an NFL job, whatever, that it begins every week Sunday at 1:02 p.m. when the football flies.
No, absolutely not, DK. There's and then it's not just that. It's the lead up to it. It's the travel to it. And then it's the post game to it, too. So, man, I appreciate the congratulations and everything that came by. I know I flooded everybody's timeline with my news last week. But I'll say I'm proud because I never imagined doing interviews, DK, in an NFL and college locker room would lead to this. And I've always said it how we do this job, DK. Like, I never wanted to be an athlete that did it and just say, oh, hey, yeah, let me lean on my own expertise. I like to learn from you, DK, and just be in it and respect the craft, too.
It's funny that I've one pattern that I've noticed, and this kind of makes sense. Athletes that I deal with who are in the 20s, who are like you, well-spoken, imaginative, thoughtful, unafraid to speak their minds. Okay. And I'm not saying that, citing that category as if it's some long list. It's not. Okay. But in the 20s, nobody thinks about it. Nobody mentions it. Nobody does anything. You cross over into their 30s, and all of a sudden it becomes a real thing. I've mentioned to you before that Landon Roberts and I had, somewhat similar talks. And Landon came in here, you remember, in the studio, and we did a show together. And it was,
I think right after that too, I saw him in the airport, man. Great human, man.
Oh, there's one to E-Rob. Okay.
Yeah.
Proud Steeler, by the way, still should have been a Steeler. Another subject for another day. And it's interesting how, because you guys have such strange careers as NFL players, because we use a word casually like retirement, and you're in some cases in the NFL, like a running back, you're not even in your 30s, and we're saying, oh yeah, he's retired. Like, hell he is.
Yeah. No
He's
doubt.
got
Like,
his
seriously.
whole life in front of him.
Yeah, or you hit 27 at certain positions, and you're like, oh, Lord, they're on the back end of this thing, DK. So it is, you're right. By those 30s, if you last long enough, like, guys start to figure out, okay, what's next? And the main, I think, occupation for retired players, if they didn't want a quarterback or Von Miller types, you know what I'm saying, that just can just ride off into the sunset. Or Joe Hayden. Have you seen Joe Hayden's golf troughs that he's got, or golf, like, it's stables? It is insanely. What I'm saying is, the tiers of like earnings versus like what they're capable of doing later, then you do think about a second career, DK, and I enjoy it, you know? And it's either coaching first or let me do a podcast. You know, it's always that, you know. But I will say this though, I do think more players. I know, DK.
You got me on that one.
Tell me I'm lying.
It's totally the truth.
It's so true. And honestly, I point to you when people like, because I get asked about this often. It's like, man, how do you get in the podcast? And I'm straight up honest with them. I was like, look, you need to either be in it while you're playing, because that's the most amount of eyes you're going to have on you to build up a fan base. And I shout out to you often, DK, and I'll be like, or you honestly get with a guy that has a platform established where you can freely do those types of things. I was like, and my guy in Pittsburgh is why I call you. It's like, and my guy in Pittsburgh's got one hell of a platform that we're able to do this off of. So because of that, this is why mine is what it is. And we just crush it and do good stuff too, though, DK.
You know,
be too humble.
We can't be, because we've already just been exposed as frauds because we've made it this far without ringing the bell.
Dang. Okay,
you see how that goes? And the one thing the boss reminded me of before we went on was like, you guys know you didn't ring the bell or do any of that last week.
We didn't take a break.
This can't happen. This can't happen twice in a row. So we're gonna get back on the proper path here.
Yes, Marlon. I wake up at 4:20 in the morning. Okay, it's just a time or NFL drug testing date. Either way.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask Ramon before we get to all the questions and the Hey Moan segment and all that other stuff here. I want to ask you about the approach to color commentating in general.
Yeah.
Somebody on here said that Tunch and Wolf would have been proud of you.
I saw that.
I know you did. Here, it's right here from Paulie, and I'm thinking how do we lose both of them in such short order? First of all, I know.
Yeah.
Because the one thing is they were always inseparable. So that's something that a lot of people had thought about too. Seeing Wolf by himself was kind of like, not that we wouldn't rather still have Wolf. It's
I honestly felt like you saw Tunch walking with him. Like that's the way I visioned. Like, yeah. That's how I saw it.
Did everything together, referred to each other only as brothers and all that other stuff. And these guys, what they did that made them successful, yes, they have the personalities. Okay. They learned. They didn't say, well, I'm a former this or that, so everyone's just going to listen to me. They worked at it. They worked at their craft. They worked at projecting. They worked at enunciation. They worked at pronunciation, which I'm sure is a massive, massive thing. Probably even more so in college football than in the NFL, because there's 90 of them.
Yeah.
All their parents are listening. Okay. All their family and friends, whatever. And all you have to do to ruin your credibility is to say the kid's name wrong.
Listen.
True story here.
Yeah.
The late, great Vin Scully of the Dodgers. And this is going to sound like I'm name dropping, but just hear me out anyway.
We'll find you later.
When the Pirates would go into Dodger Stadium, Vin Scully would come out and sit next to me in the press box. I know. And just say, do you have a minute? Would you be so kind as to go over with me the pronunciation? And if they have nicknames of any of these players on the Pittsburgh roster, I'm like, no, man, get out of here. Who are you? But he also wanted to hear stories about who they were. What are the personalities? You have time to kill on some of these broadcasts, especially in baseball. Okay. And in the back, in the eating area of the Dodger Stadium press box, you could hear the broadcaster in the game. So I go back there, I'd get a coffee or whatever it is, a hot dog, Dodger dog. And I would hear him use these stories on the air. Yeah. And all I was thinking of from the time was, even I didn't think that story was interesting, but he made it that way. My point is that he And the best ones, and Tunch and Wolf did this too, they weren't aloof broadcasters. They weren't up in the booth hiding from everybody, sitting there on Mount Olympus passing judgment.
Right.
They were down there.
Yep.
They were talking to the players. They were talking to the coaches. Not even necessarily interviews. Just get to know them. Get to know who they are.
That goes a long way, though, DK, as far as like how I plan on doing it, man, is exactly how we do this. More than anything, like to know the names. Absolutely, DK. You mentioned the 90 scholarship players, but there's like 30 more like walk-on guys too that you must know. And mine, I know the Vols, right? The team now I'll be covering in the falls. I know them well enough, but mine is I will be one-sided because I'm allowed to, because I'm hired by the Vol Network, but also be professional enough to say, hey, this Georgia Bulldog, player number 22, and say his name. Or have some little small fact about the recruiting process of, a quarterback from South Carolina or even Florida or Bama, for that matter. Just because, again, you know how I take this side of the game as it pertains to how you present people. Because I hate when people say Raymond. Or put an E on the end of my name. Like, no, my name is Ramon. I get it. I'm a black guy named Ramon, but my name is Ramon, okay? It's spelled that way. Call my name that way. And I've gotten to a point where I have started to correct people with that type of stuff because your name is what you're known by, right? And the way I plan on doing it, though, DK, is be able to show that excitement. Be able to give a very simple but in-depth description of what I'm seeing, without trying to sound like Tony Romo, without trying to be in a position to where I'm the smartest guy talking to you. No, DK, sports is simple. Did we win or did we lose is what most people want to know. Who made the big plays and how? And then if you can just sprinkle me in a nugget or two, that's a chef's kiss, right? Like, it ain't got to be, on this play they're going to do that. No, that's not, because that's not me. I'll tell anybody, like, I know and love the game, but I also understand what people want to see and have out of the game too, like the quarterback talks and how they go about, trying to show everybody how good they are at stuff. I'll give it, for instance, I think Greg Olsen, right, is probably the better one between him and Tom Brady.
He certainly thinks so.
Yeah. And I, honestly, and listening, like, and I feel this too, Brady will get better in his broadcast. I think that because just how his career went, I naturally think he's going to get better. But Greg Olsen, I feel like at this point right now, shouldn't have been knocked down because Tom Brady got the bigger name. Like,
that was lousy. Olsen is really good.
He's really good. And I'll be honest with you, said, and he lets people know he should, because he got knocked unfairly.
There's only one way. I mean, we tried, I know in this business, we tried for about 6-7 years just taking the quiet, humble, modest approach. It doesn't do anything. You have to let people know who you are and what you are and why you're succeeding at it, or else then somebody else defines you. And that's not a great place to be, like, ever, especially when you start succeeding at something. Let's get to some hey moans here, because I'm seeing a bunch of questions piling up here. Our friend Reiner first comes in and just says, hey, DK and Ramon and gang and all that other stuff here.
I'm glad we're still on speaking terms, man. I love that.
We definitely are on speaking terms.
Here we are.
Now and forever, our country's best friend. Record guy says, I hear the Steelers protected the Packers game because they wanted it played in the Berg due to the imminent Rodgers sign. We're getting all. Is
that an international game situation?
Well, right, Dublin, yeah.
Dublin, yeah.
No.
Listen,
why would the Steelers care about that?
I don't think they care, but I would look at this and say, if this was a non-Mr. Rooney, non-Omar Khan conversation as far as the business people that have to say, hey, for the purposes of making money, yeah, we'll take that one. I get that one. It's traditionalist.
But the game's sold. Yeah, but as far as play, like who you would play with the Packers against Rodgers, and no, I mean, how many teams removed would he be from that situation here?
And honestly, do we want to fight that battle? Because Green Bay is nothing to like just turn your nose up at either. Like, that is a contested game, because Jordan Love is good, and that defense is always going to be legit too with what they have in Green Bay. So I'm cocky enough to believe that the Steelers can win that game, but I also look at Jordan Love and say, you might get what you're asking for, and it might not be good for you.
Master of Music gets us started in earnest here. Says, hey, Moan, what defensive tackle would you take if the Steelers do, in fact, go defensive line in the draft, and that is the position of the year in that class, no question.
It is 100%, man. There's a group of guys. I had them this morning, man. The real question is, if I give you guys an answer, are you going to go back and tell Cam? Because y'all going to make it seem like I'm out here trying to find this replacement. I kid. Okay, but in seriousness, though, I'm a Walter Nolan fan. But I don't you get it, DK. You know you with me on that one. I'm a Walter Nolan fan.
He can take it, I think.
Yeah. No, Cam and I are on good basis, man. Walter Nolan, I'm a fan of his. I just don't know if he's the type of defensive tackle that will work in Pittsburgh. He reminds me a little bit more, because I saw him at the Senior Bowl, of the Marvin Leal, as far as like probably more of a hybrid DN, 3-technique type of guy. I mean, there's a bunch of guys out there. I'm a huge fan. Okay, even though he's not Cam Hayward's build, he's Cam Hayward's mold, and that is TJ Sanders out of South Carolina. Big, rangy. DK, listen to me how I describe him. Heavy-handed, great motor, able to bend the corner, not the best bender, but he will bend you back to get to the quarterback. If you're talking about a second-round pick, I'm in love with what Cam's replacement could be at some point with a TJ Sanders. I like him a lot, DK, out of South Carolina. And now here's the other part, too, about players that you want also. I'd hate to give you a person, and then next thing you know, they're not even on the Steelers' radar, and we just covered somebody. But TJ Sanders is somebody you need to have your eyes on for sure.
It's a deep class. It's one of those that's going to have people really, I think, discussing and debating whether or not they can wait for a defensive lineman. The way we've been talking about offensive tackle in recent years, just wait for your guy. Or if you get a little eager, the way the Steelers did with Broderick Jones, where you just say, somebody else is going to get him. Let's just go. Yeah. And they trade up, to make that happen here. Eric Schulo says, I like Sanders. So many great defensive tackles in this draft. And the other thing about the DTs that's interesting is that they're so different.
They are. Like, I'm looking at the list of guys right now because I'm looking at one right now, DK, and I'm like, okay, like Deion Walker is a huge specimen, DK, but he's huge. Walter Nolan's undersized. Mason Graham's going to be top 5, top 10. You're not going to get to him. But then you got Oregon's, Derek Harmon. Like, there are so many different body types. And then on top of that, Tyleik Williams is another one out of Ohio State. You got the Ohio State connection. What I do know is that front office love Ohio State guys, and they've been somewhat good for them too. It ain't been many that hadn't out of Ohio State.
No, and I know a certain Cam Hayward that would agree with that too.
Easily. And that, I mean, that's just a passing of the torch situation right there for Cam. I know that'd be cool, and he ain't thinking about the end, DK, but legitimately, it'd be sweet for him to have an alum in the building with him.
I was going to ask you this question, and Jonathan beat me to it. Hey, Moan, how do you feel about Calvin Anderson as a swing tackle? He's been in the league for a while. Yeah. You and I have talked about the need to have somebody behind both Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu. What kind of a pro is Calvin Anderson?
Man, he's a guy, DK, that you know is going to be available for you. You understand what they are as a squad, and again, more than anything, if you're really overly investing in backup guys, then you got a problem with your starters. What I know about Calvin is this: he's going to play the game and be a consummate pro, DK. It's depth is what you're looking for at this point, because again, there's a lot hanging on Broderick more than anything. You know what I'm saying?
Really,
so
it feels like the whole team is.
Yes.
I hate to say that, but
It is, DK, like legitimately. So again, he's a guy that you know has played and been around this league. It's more experience than anything. I don't think a whole lot of it, but I know if his number's called, DK, he's going to answer.
Russell comes in with a $2 contribution and asks, hey, Moan, what was your best individual season? And I have to think it's the one where you thought you had the chance at the Pro Bowl.
17.
Yeah. But why? What made you know that? There wasn't, were you looking at, I know what you were doing. You were looking at the PFF grades with your secret anonymous PFF account.
Well, it wasn't just that. I was bodying folks. I knew my agent Joel Siegel. He was like, "Why didn't you have this year the year bore?" Like, that's how I knew
contract year.
Yeah,
only agents think like that.
No, and I thought it too. I ain't gonna lie to you. 17. I think I only gave up. That was a year they were all tweeting about it too. The PFF folks and everybody else. Like, that's the year where the validation of what I was as a player, everybody else saw that year. I had been personally doing that, DK, but legitimately, that was the year that everybody else was like, man, Foster is having a real good season. And I moved good. Pass pro was good. We won a lot, DK. And
scored a lot of points.
Yeah, we scored a lot of points, and there wasn't anything I wasn't seeing or doing. I can vividly remember that year. That was a real good year, DK. But I'll say this too: mentally, at that point, to get that deal at that time, I was more comfortable too. Like,
you made it. You were there. You weren't looking over your. You were looking over your shoulder, but it was to see Ben Roethlisberger.
To tap. We were in a real good mood that year, DK. If there were years that we were going to go get it, as far as the Super Bowl, it was probably 16, 17, and 18.
It was 17.
It was 17.
Okay.
It was 17.
As long as we're clear on that.
Yeah, it was 17.
Tyler Johnson says everybody's got to be good on a 13-3 team. That is accurate.
Everybody stepped up that year though. Like, yeah, 13-3. That was a hell of a year. God.
This one comes in from KD. He says, "Hey Bone, how much of the game plan or lack thereof is Mike Tomlin responsible for versus the coordinators?" So, and you knew this is where KD was headed. If the game plan is horrible, in parentheses, or good, is it more a reflection of Tomlin or on the staff? Which one is it?
Man, so here's the thing. Every game plan is good. I'll be completely honest with you, KD Lewis. Every friggin' game plan is good because you know what you have to do against them and you know what they're going to do against you. What happens is if you got player X getting his butt kicked, or the quarterback is not where you want him to be at, or hey, the run game, what we saw on film, isn't what we're experiencing in person. The best plan for actually, DK, a coaching job or how good a job is how you adjust. Now, I know that has been a topic of conversation with Coach Tomlin too, or the coordinators that he have, or the play callings that come out. Every plan is good, DK. The execution of it or the detail that players do or don't have is what dismantles your plan going into the game. I hate to give you that answer, DK, but I've never gone into a game, except for maybe one in New England. Might have been the AFC Championship game because I knew as a team we weren't where we needed to be.
Everyone knew it.
And I knew, you see what I'm saying?
I was there. I felt the same thing walking in there. I thought you had to score 45 points.
And we had to be perfect.
On offense. And then Lev goes down and then, okay.
Yep. Yes, DK. That was probably like the only time that I've ever felt like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that bad to say as a player?
I mean, no, anything that you say that's honest is good. The barber comes in, unless you're Larry David, like then you don't do that. Just don't say what you're thinking, man. You know, bum. The barber comes in and says, "Hey, Moan, congrats on becoming a middle J journalist." I like that. like always, best wishes to you and your family. # Go Vols from our very good friend, the barber here. James Fairfield says, "Hey, Moan, if the Steelers do take a defensive tackle, which of the three top guys would you prefer? Which of the three?"
You won't be able to get Mason Graham. Mason Graham's going to the Jaguars.
He's
up. I honestly think going to Walter Nolan at 21 may be a reach too. So I'm going Kenneth Grant or TJ Sanders, just being completely honest with you. And TJ Sanders might be a second rounder. Like getting...
You had me at Kenneth Grant. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. It just, you see that size and that athleticism, and I've had a chance over the past 3 or 4 days to really take a look at him. This is rare air, man. This is when you're getting somebody who's just capable of doing stuff that almost feels slump proof or fail proof. Do you know what I'm talking about? I know there's always everyone's got options to fail.
Yeah. So the only question I have though, he's 6'4", 310-ish or whatever. What's Keanu? 295? Okay. I saw he ran a 5'1".
Keanu's moving.
Okay.
I can tell they haven't said that. They haven't even really hinted at it, but I think what you're going to see is first, the defensive tackle will be in place.
Yeah.
The draft conversation happens. They come into the room with us after they've made the pick. And believe you me, one of the first questions is, what are you doing with 95? Because Keanu has this is some crazy stats. I mentioned PFF.
Yeah.
They have Keanu ranked as one of the better pass rushing guys on the defensive line, like 17th in the league.
We spoke about this.
Yeah.
When he got drafted.
And yet you're giving up, big yards later in the season on the ground. It might be time to just say, hey, here's Cam over here, and here's the new Steph over here. Hey, I have big shoes. I didn't mean to compare him to Steph. Okay.
No. But here's the thing. To be fair, Steph's is somewhat incomplete. So you're looking for somebody that can complete that mission, DK.
Yep.
And that's out of respect and love for Stephon Tuitt.
Exactly. Levi Smith comes in with a contribution and says, hey, Moan, will either of your boys follow in your footsteps? Could we see another Foster on the back of a jersey? And also, I'll add, which sport?
Yeah. So my oldest, man, he's 16. He's a sophomore, and he's a baseball player. He did football.
He's a player.
Yeah. He did football 7th, 8th grade ball. He just got like a special invite to an event, man, and he's been looking for. He got it, and he was geeked about it too, as far as I go, because he's only a sophomore. But he's baseball. He did football, and he was at the end of it. They won the county championship, and he was like, Dad, I'm done. I said, I know you are, okay? But he balled. He did his thing too, and he had a lot of fight and grit in him. It just ain't for him. He's RJ's 6'6.5". Like, he's 210. Like, his size ain't his thing right now.
He's taller than you, which is
legitimately
nuts. Oh yeah, like not by a hair.
No, he got me.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, he had a game yesterday, and I was with my youngest Miles. Though Levi is the answer. He's built just like me. He plays left guard already. He understands the position. This summer, he and I are going to get real busy on technique. The same way that Munt said that Matthews did with his son, Jake Matthews. We're going to be hitting the offensive line drills and moving back and forth and showing him how to play this game, because now he fully understands what it takes to play football. Last year, I let him do his thing. I'm out the way. I'm actually coaching now, and he understands that.
How are you out of the way if you're coaching?
Last year, I didn't jump in his way and say, hey, you should do this, and let me make you a pro right now. Like, he's 7th grade going into 8th grade, and in football, they still are getting looked at as a 9th grader. So because of that, by the time we get more serious, I want to have his technique and his stuff together. So he's got that advantage. Oh, and I meant to tell you this. I got a text yesterday from Duck Hodges.
Oh, wow.
He
brush with stardom. Here it comes.
I know. He sends me a picture. It's like, hey, I know this kid right here. And it was RJ at a baseball game playing first base. I'm like, Doc, where's Laney Wilson at first? But Doc.
That's enough out of you.
But he saw RJ. He's
Very
like,
enough.
He's not that little kid anymore. I said, Doc, he is way different now than when you remember him in the locker room.
Oh, yeah. They were just these little dudes that would come running toward the offensive line corner after the games.
Yeah.
Tough, man. He got a lot of miles out of winning in that soccer stadium. He really did. He really did. That was a bit bigger. That's enough out of you.
You know you feel how I feel. Doc. Hey, RJ hit baseballs or the way you, Devin Hester couldn't fill this coverage right here, DK, is what I'm telling you. Not even Deion Sanders could have covered that one. I'm proud of my dog.
Goodness.
He won.
Our man, the Duck, versus the Chargers on a Sunday night.
He beat a Hall of Famer.
AD says, yes, he did. Actually, all of you did. AD comes in and says, hey, Moan, does true leadership come from being heard or from knowing when to listen? That's a great question. I hope you both have a wonderful day. It's funny that even within your group, within your offensive line, people, you had so many different personalities when it came to who talks, who listens, who does both. I always saw you as more of a both guy, but then there's someone like Dave, who was more of a listener, kind of a quiet guy. Gil, definitely a listener.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
Gil, definitely, and yeah,
and even Al, in his own way, as long as you weren't talking about the military. Okay, it's Al wanted to. He was holding that conversation without your help.
Yeah,
but the rest of it, man, just that eye contact, listening. I love the question. I don't have an answer here.
Yeah, what is true leadership? It comes from work first. You can't tell me what to do if you're not doing what I'm doing or more. If you are willing to put in the work and show me what you do, or have the talent, DK, to just win. If you can drag me to the finish line with you, and I know you know the pathway on how to do it, I'll listen then. The leadership side of a DK comes from respect, man. Like, you can't be new guy, hey, look at me. Like, it is a fine line between talking too much to your point of just being able to listen, because you're right. Dave was a listener and a doer. Gil was a soldier. Like, tell him what to do, and he got you in those moments right there. Al was a doer. Not much of a listener, because he ain't really listened to us like that. Al didn't listen, but he was a doer, and Pounce was both himself. Like, you gonna hear him, and he gonna show you how to get to that point too, man. That is but here's the thing too, real quick. Everybody has their different ways of doing it. I was vocal, and I also did, but Marquise did more and less vocal than me because he trusted me to be more vocal. His delivery was way different than mine, is what I'm saying though too. Like,
when he spoke, it was with great emphasis. Let's put it that way.
There we go.
Yeah, a very, very, how do I put this? In the moment, passionate person.
Yeah.
Like, when he saw the spot, when he found the moment, he'd hit it. Now, there's just what an interesting individual on so many levels.
It is, man. And he ain't everybody's cup of tea. And I'm sure I wasn't either, because I led with positivity, right? And encouragement. Pounce led with bleep, 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 bleep. You better bleep, bleep, bleep. It was at times.
And he was so real. I mean, there was a game, not to divert here or whatever. There was a game somewhere on the road that you guys played.
Yeah. And
you guys are all sitting there, some dark, visiting one of those rooms where you're like, is this the NFL?
Tampa,
and
maybe?
I don't know. And you're cutting, it might have been.
Yeah.
And everybody's sitting there cutting off the ankle tape that you guys all put on. It's like 500 tons of ankle tape to support the voluminous weight with which you operate.
Yeah.
And Pounce is cutting off, and you know his situation with his ankle.
Yeah.
And I caught him in a moment because that thing bothered him way more than he wanted to tell humans about for a long time. And it was ultimately what forced him out of the game.
It was, because if he had his foundation under him, I think Pounce could have played 15 plus years. Like, Pounce on those Thursdays when he wasn't playing, and like people was like, why y'all still going to Pouncey house? One, he needed it. Okay, he absolutely needed that. But we go over to his house, and Pounce is sitting up with his leg up with a tube stuck in his leg for drainage, and on like crazy amounts of antibiotics too. And nobody knew that. You know, I got another one that's crazy like that.
That was the one time, just to finish the story, that was the one time that he looked up at me and he was like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. Now, this is not for interview or anything. It's not something I'm going to go running and making a headline out of. Okay, he's sharing a moment with me. And I respected that way more than I could say, because it told me so much. It also gives you perspective, not just on the player, but on the man and what he meant to the team and what the team meant to him.
Yep.
And you see now when there's that closing scene with him and Ben sitting on that bench in the COVID, you see now why Ben, okay, this wasn't just, he's my center and he snapped the ball to me for 100 years. No. Okay, everybody knew. Everybody knows what everybody's going through. What am I talking about? It's an NFL locker room.
But not really. Cause here he was, Pounce had a hard time. He had a hard time keeping on weight anyway. But like here he is, not able to run, not able to lift, not able to sweat at all while being hooked up. Because I mean, I don't think it's telling too much because he'll tell you too at some point, or we can get him back on. And we can talk about the second half of our interview we got to get done. But like he would tell you, like it sucked, legitimately. Like, and that wasn't the only injury too. Like I know Pounce, well, he was always injured. Like. No, that wasn't the case. Like his diehard approach to it was to get back as quick as he possibly can. He had numerous surgeries from a staph infection, DK, that could have, I mean, his leg was close to being chopped off. That's how serious it was.
Staph, yes, some scary stuff.
Yeah, so those tears that you saw at the end of his last game, it was warranted for a lot of different reasons. So much so if you can go to his Instagram maybe or one of his videos he might post, look at the ankle. Like it's bone, and then you see tight skin inside of the bone still. Like it ate away at him.
Oof, boy.
Another one for you too, real quick, DK, and that same sentiment on what guys go through. I don't know about it sympathize with guys making hundreds of thousands and millions, but Ryan Harris ended up, who was it that got hurt? Was it Gill that got hurt? Ryan Harris had to come in. Ryan Harris had an open sore or open cut on his leg. It was deep at the time, DK. He actually got, because all it costs to get like your foot cut off is like a little bit of grass to get in it. Ryan Harris played in a full game. We won on like Sunday Night Football. Immediately had to get rushed to the hospital for surgery because he had an bacteria inside of his leg, DK. Finished the game.
But why do they get paid so much? The common fan will ask occasionally, you know, it's like, this is why. You know, and this is why, especially in football, it comes soon and quickly because you're not only the best guys get a second contract. Never mind a third contract over here.
Yeah, right. A lot happens behind the scenes, and that's why players get so angry at times too. There's much to it.
I'm sure. I've heard some of those stories. Most of them have been told to me, and I was sworn to not repeat them. Pie Guy says, hey, DK and Moan, which position, running back or slot corner, is more of a need in, let's say, rounds 3 or 4? The Steelers, I know, Moan, have sent the strongest possible signals in my direction that they're getting a running back. I've heard nothing from them as related to slot corner. And do you even really draft slot corner, or do you draft an outside corner and say, how about the slot?
5th, 6th round, 4th to 6th, maybe, DK, but they're in a spot where they need a running back. So at 21 is such a unique position. We've spoken about the D tackle spot, but Amarian Hampton, if he slides out of North Carolina, DK, Blazer, okay, could really be a compliment and bell cow. Now, taking a first round running back is also controversial for a lot of people, but I do see them going running back maybe earlier than we expect, DK.
Yeah, James Galloway says staph infection got Greg Lloyd, for those of you who go back in Steelers history.
Really?
Yeah, and it was a scary, scary thing for him. James Galloway wants to know, Ramon, do you have offensive line hands?
I was messing with a kid yesterday that we were working out for football. I was like, what you got a brace on for? Your hands don't look like this. So my pinkies are naturally curved. That's not a defect. Although I think they did, but my thumb goes all the way down and back.
Oh,
like that.
No, it doesn't.
That
geez.
finger is done. That finger got a plate and 4 pins in it. You see my scar? Like, I can't bend that thumb. I'm trying to bend it. Like, I can bend this finger.
Yeah.
I can't bend that thumb. Like, I'm trying. And that's about it, though. Ligaments done in this one. Thumb got a plate and 4 screws. And that's a ligament also.
And, you know, the funny thing is,
I'll be honest, my wrist too. Punching.
You guys use your hands and your wrists way more than I think people realize when it comes to the blocking, because I think the perception is that you're doing this.
No, that's old school. That's the 70s.
That's the 70s. And whereas now everything is with the hands to pads. Yeah. That said, who has the nastiest, gnarliest hands in an NFL locker room, in any NFL locker room?
In any NFL locker room. The one that pops out the most is Baldinger. His is filthy.
Oh, no, not individuals. I'm sorry. Oh. I just meant the position.
Oh, it's 2. One of them surprising. Offensive line, wide receivers.
It's surprising to some people. I knew that was the answer.
Yeah.
There's some awful things that happen to their fingers from the whether it's the ball coming at them or being pressured as the ball is coming at them. There's contact happening there. There's hard contact. And I don't even just mean like somebody's doing this to you. I mean, you're going into helmets. You're going into yeah.
Yeah. And then
some
with
of them are really like crazy. And then they break them all the time.
They do, because here's the thing. You can catch that ball and misjudge it. Like, I've seen guys shatter this part of the finger, like the top part of the finger, shattered. Absolutely, from like catching footballs. It's a price to pay, man.
Oh,
ask me if I do it again.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, he would.
I would.
Yeah, he would. That's the old Jack Lambert line at the Hall of Fame speech. Yeah. If I had to do it all over again, I'd do it, and you damn well better believe I'd be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
God! DK, don't get me going. It's the offseason, man. We ain't even made it to draft yet.
The barber speaks up on behalf of linebackers who have to do a lot of nasty stuff with their hands too, because they're all grabby and they're hitting and all that other stuff. Barber points out also that somebody's got to wield those scissors.
Shoot my left hand. I know, Barber, you can't be out here, man. Listen, we need you in the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
Some of us more than most.
Yeah. This is nasty right here. Let me put one up real quick.
My
Pie Guy. I got staffed twice, but got it clean before the bullet hole got to my bone.
What
I'm hoping.
And
then he said, swimming in the river, bad idea.
So Pie Guy got shot and tried to get away by swimming through the river?
Yeah, you deserve to be on the drip for a little while. Unless you're running from somebody that had bad intentions.
I mean, if he got shot, they probably had bad intentions. Russell says, hey, Moan, be honest. How many times did you accidentally fall on a defender just a little longer than necessary? And, oh, by the way, why did it happen all the time against the Bengals?
Everybody except Gino. I respected Gino, okay? I respected Gino. It happened often because why? They hate us. They hate our weight that we put on them. They hate the way we lean on them. They hate the way we double team them. They hate. I did it more in college because I will say in the NFL level, unless it's like a rookie, like the respect factor is a bit too much. But yeah, he was going to the ground and oh man, my bad. I was a nice prick is what I was, DK. I'll be quite honest with you. I'd be like, oh, my bad, and push to get up and then like help him up at the same time too.
The best thing about you against the Bengals, it wasn't what you did. It wasn't what you did. It was the way you would react after you did it. You had this, you know what I'm going to say here. You had this special swag about you going back to the huddle. I did that. That was me, 7'3", right here. That was me. That was you.
Yeah, 100. Because I knew this. I knew what those games meant, especially when Andy Dalton and that offense was cooking and they had the identity with Burfict and Pac-Man. And, I mean, there's numerous guys. Wallace Gilberry, Gino. I mean, think about this. They had Carlos Dunlap. So when you got an opportunity to get them, DK, and let's be honest, Cincinnati, whether it was Marvin Lewis or whether it was Andy Dalton or whether it was just they couldn't keep the band together long enough to do good in games, that team was dangerous. So if you got them in that era, DK, you let them know that. And Coach Tomlin didn't care too much for it either because he'd just be like, hey, we wouldn't be like long as he win, but certain guys get away with certain stuff.
We used to get on Dr. Shadow about not being a member and everything. Dr. Shadow's a member now. Because what drove you nuts about Dr. Shadow was that he'd ask all the best questions. And you're like, and you're doing it from that table over there, really? But Dr. Shadow, he's got it all down now. He's got the membership, and he still comes in with our best question of the day, which is, hey, Moan, has a defensive lineman ever tried to injure you intentionally?
Intentionally? No, not really. What I did know from
11 years,
defensive linemen,
all
not
those
intentionally.
Baltimore, Cincinnati.
A lot of respect, and like I said, it's a lot of respect given in those moments. Now, here's what I will say: the violence in which they attempted to attack you, like that's honestly a requirement. But I didn't take it like I didn't take it personally, is what I'm saying. Like I knew playing against Denver, when the Denver Broncos was really good, or Jacksonville Jaguars, DK, or if we're playing against the Browns and like they got a pick running where, hey, I'm held up right here and a defensive lineman coming to hit my ribs. Like I never took it personally. Like I understood that side of it. But I knew that we were always going to be tested like that too. So I never took offense to somebody trying to clean my clock. Like I was aware enough to know that, look, you better have your head on the swivel. I can't directly say somebody did that, not to our group, because we were the bullies. I ain't trying to sound like a tough guy.
No, but that was the attitude.
We were the bullies, though.
Yeah, that's the way
fair?
you guys. It's fair, and I'm going to keep bringing up this line that Andy Weidel had when he came over from the Eagles and said that he wanted the Steelers to get back to that mentality. He said, I want a team that feels good about itself getting off the bus. And you're not going to hear many lines about any offensive line that's better than that. He was referring to the group in Philadelphia, and I know you guys had that same approach. When you walked into that stadium, everybody on your roster was walking behind you.
Yeah, man. We didn't really deal with that. Now, they came at us, DK. I've seen guys get, like, everybody's got, but like nobody was like blatantly disrespected. Like if you got cleaned up, guess who Munch would blame? He would blame the person that allowed you to get cleaned up, because our technique is supposed to protect that. Even with Nada, like, you know, the way he came through and hit Ben under the nose, like nobody took that personally. It's stop it. It's the way it was. Like we didn't make excuses for that type of stuff. It's weird.
Haloti Nada early on.
Yeah, man.
Like we would see that and we would go, how's he, what, like you could watch the replay and go, what did he do there? You know, he just ate people.
Yeah. I had one guy that I thought, and he's a great human, great guy. But as a rookie, I actually felt like in training camp, we did more dirty by our Steelers defensive line than anybody else. Like, legitimately, like Kiesel's a great dude. I love my brother, but he was a menace in practice. Okay, I'm gonna drop another name, Nick Eason. I've never seen a grown man grab another grown man hand and just go and just body me. Like we got so much hell from them that like
that's really interesting. It was a name that anybody ever brings up either too.
It was worse in practice, Cam. Worse in practice, legitimately, like Kursky, like worse in practice than the games were. Like Hamp was chill. Hamp ain't want to do nothing, right? But like we got it worse in camp, DK, than we did sometimes in the game.
When we come back, we're going to take care of a little bit of business here on the Ramon Foster Show.
No doubt.
Eventually.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
See, what you don't know is that the boss got busted here because she went to Market Square for a salad while we were on. Oh, yeah. Wasn't even listening to the show. Just said, there's salad beckons. So she went over there to get some salad. She comes over here. She's all immersed in it. And, you know.
Like we're just water flowing in the background that she's relaxing to, DK. I got to go in real quick before we go. 1,800 members. Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Real quick before we roll into it, DK. Chad, ask this question. Hey, Mom, did your teammates, did you feel your teammates were intimidated by Ray Lewis? No. Chad, I don't want to sound cocky on this Pro Steelers podcast and network, okay? There was never an intimidation by anybody. Like, I'll be honest.
Who was on your side?
Exactly. I will say there was one demon I felt like that you had to respect. There was one. There was one that nobody could touch, and you know who he is. Is it Penn Hills?
Oh. Okay. No one could stop AD, but AD didn't have an intimidation factor.
Like,
I mean, he would sharpen you. He would force you to do double teaming. But I mean, AD's wouldn't have been somebody who would have been making you scared.
Nah,
which I think was the question. That's why I would have never guessed that. Yeah,
we're gonna have 2 on them. We're gonna have 2 on them.
And you did.
Yes, you better. What's the name? I can't put it up there because it's got a cuss word in it. But Anita says, "Bull crap, the Patriots." I will say this: there was more of a threat, like offensively, for what a team could do to you. Patriots were in that conversation. If there was a player on the other side, and nobody's really coming to mind right now, but certain offenses, Patriots, as far as like how to stop them, and can our offense keep up with what they're doing without making mistakes? Like, intimidated by it? No. Absolutely not. As I said earlier, every game plan is good. It's a matter of how you adjust and who's going to make plays for you. Sometimes in those Patriots years too, we were just weaker at other spots too, DK. I mean, real quick. Like, Artie and Sean Davis over Gronk.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say it. I mean,
Artie and
everybody
Sean
knows
Davis
what you're
over
saying.
Gronk.
You know?
Like, how can you defend Gronk?
What did you think was going to happen?
You know what I'm saying? Like, or the perfection of how they ran their offense, like that more than anything. A player, no. But like the idea of being perfect to beat them in those types of settings, like no other team did a flicker for a touchdown on us like the Patriots
and
did.
Edelmans and everything else that they had going on with a short game, and then they could go deep when they needed to, and they were going against a secondary that was easily exposed.
Yeah,
I mean, let's just say what it is, because that's what kept the Steelers. You know, I'll say it so you don't have to. That's what kept the Steelers from that era from winning a Super Bowl. You should have been able to score your way to a championship.
Facts.
Okay?
At 30 plus a game?
You should have, like this, right through the Fort Pitt tunnel on your way to a championship. But,
we'll just keep it right there. Nobody, you look at, the boogeyman. Nah. Like Aaron Donald could present that to you, but we also didn't see Aaron Donald often. Nobody in the AFC, not even Suggs. Suggs was him too, but all right, we got to do this and this and this and this, but we're good enough at other places to handle that. Like, it's such a beautiful sport, DK.
Yeah, it is. X gets the last word and says that Patriots game still haunts me. Good stuff.
History, right?
Exactly. What you got for us, Moan, on this Wednesday?
Shout out to our over 1,800 members, man. We'll appreciate y'all, and for y'all to tune in too. We will pick up and be more consistent too, even if we got a pre-record or just move it earlier. I promise you guys that, because this is good. But again, y'all know how it goes, man. We 2 weeks away from the draft, and we get all our answers in real soon. But before then, call somebody you ain't talked to in a while. That's crucial. I don't care if it's auntie, uncle, mom, dad, anybody. Call them, have that conversation with them. Apologize too. Buy somebody a random drink. Subscribe to DK Pittsburgh Sports if you have to, man. But at all costs, man, be good to everybody, man. ELE. Everybody love everybody. Do not kiss your neighbor's dog. No hand over fist. What the world?
Oh, man, what's that all about?
I love my dog, but no, he's not getting a smooch or Big Tex up the hill. No. My dog and the other dog up the hill are good buddies, man. It's hilarious now. They're two old men.
Oh, jeez. All right, guys. Until next Wednesday.
Absolutely, good people. See you. Peace.